Welcome, and thank you for choosing to engage with our content today. Before we proceed, it's important for us to share some essential information and ensure you're fully informed about what to expect. You're about to view or listen to a unique experience that employs Ericksonian Conversational Hypnosis techniques. These techniques are designed to guide you into a relaxed state, potentially enhancing your ability to absorb suggestions and ideas more readily. It's a subtle, often enjoyable process aimed at fostering personal insight and relaxation. Please note, the content you're about to engage with is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional therapy or medical advice. If you're seeking support for specific psychological or health-related issues, we strongly encourage you to consult a licensed therapist or healthcare provider. Informed consent and expectations. By continuing, you acknowledge that you understand the nature of the content and agree to participate voluntarily. You recognize that while Ericksonian hypnosis can be a tool for relaxation and self-improvement, results can vary widely among individuals. You agree to take full responsibility for your participation and any outcomes that may arise from engaging with this content. Some disclaimers. This content is provided as is for non-therapeutic use only. The creators make no claims regarding the efficacy of the Ericksonian conversational hypnosis techniques used herein for any specific purposes beyond general relaxation and entertainment. If you are currently undergoing treatment for any psychological or psychiatric conditions, please consult with your therapist or healthcare provider before engaging with this content. If at any time during the experience you feel uncomfortable, you are encouraged to discontinue watching or listening and seek professional advice if necessary. Safety notice. Please ensure you are in a safe, comfortable environment where you can relax without being disturbed. Do not engage with this content while driving, operating heavy machinery, or in any situation where altered attention could pose a risk. Finally, our aim is to provide an engaging, positive experience that introduces you to the possibilities of self-exploration and relaxation through Ericksonian conversational hypnosis. Remember, your well-being is our utmost priority, and you are in control of your experience at all times. Thank you for your attention. If you agree to these terms and feel comfortable proceeding, let's begin this journey together. Hello, this is Coach Wheeler, and today's story is part of the Attitude series, and the title is Being Ready. And let's get right into it. Part 1, The Departure. Under the soft, artificial glow of the airport terminal, Craig lingered near the large windows overlooking the tarmac, his eyes tracing the orchestrated dance of ground crews and airplanes beneath the starless sky. The terminal buzzed with the energy of late-night travelers, but Craig found solace in the rhythmic hum of activity, using it as a backdrop to gather his thoughts and focus on the journey ahead. As a keynote speaker headed to an international conference in London, he was not just crossing time zones, but preparing to bridge concepts and cultures with his words. Craig's suitcase was meticulously packed with not only clothes, but also his presentation materials, research notes, and several best-selling books on performance psychology. He carried his latest speech, neatly typed and annotated, in his leather briefcase, feeling its weight as a comforting reminder of his purpose. He knew that success on stage required more than just preparation. It demanded an ongoing readiness, a perpetual state of alertness to adapt and thrive. As he settled into his seat aboard the plane, the soft whir of the engines and the dim cabin lights created a cocoon of introspection. Craig pulled out his notebook, the pages filled with quotes, theories, and personal anecdotes about maintaining peak performance. Each word was a stepping stone in his continuous journey of improvement. With his noise-canceling headphones set over his ears, he began to review his speech, silently mouthing the words to feel their flow and impact. Around him, the cabin was a landscape of dimly lit faces, some immersed in screens, others in slumber. Craig, however, remained vigilant, his mind rehearsing and refining. As the plane lifted off, ascending through the layers of the night sky, he pondered the dual challenges awaiting him: delivering a powerful presentation and living up to the ideals he espoused, staying ready and relentlessly pursuing excellence. As the lights of New York dwindled below, Craig felt the familiar thrill of a new challenge stirring within him. His thoughts were suddenly interrupted by the faint sound of a notification from his phone, which he had forgotten to set to airplane mode. It was an email from the conference organizer with the subject line, "Urgent, change in conference schedule." Craig's heart skipped a beat as he opened the message, his eyes scanning the contents quickly. The message was brief but jolting, ending with a line that read, "Please confirm your acceptance of the new keynote time slot. Your presentation has been moved to the opening session just hours after your arrival." As the reality of the accelerated timeline dawned on him, Craig stared into the vast dark sky. How would he adapt his preparation to meet this unexpected challenge? The journey had just begun, yet the stakes were already higher than he had anticipated. Tune in for the next part of the story. This is Coach Wheeler. Welcome to part 2 of Being Ready. The title, The Ascent. As the plane carved its path through the clouds, Craig's thoughts soared, grappling with the sudden change in his schedule. His well-structured plan for rehearsal and relaxation before the conference was now crumpled like the pages of his notebook, tossed by the turbulence of unforeseen events. Yet, it was in these moments, when plans faltered and pressure mounted, that Craig's philosophy of staying ready was truly put to the test. He glanced around the cabin, observing his fellow passengers. Some were drifting into sleep, others lost in movies or music, escaping into their own worlds. In contrast, Craig's world demanded his full presence and adaptability. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath, centering himself amidst the hum of the aircraft. It was time to transform tension into opportunity, to harness the nervous energy and channel it into his performance. Reopening his notebook, Craig began rewriting portions of his speech, incorporating this very experience of adapting to change as a live example for his audience. He scripted new lines, refining his narrative to not only discuss readiness, but to embody it, to show how one could pivot and excel, even under pressure. As his pen flew across the pages, he could almost hear the murmur of the impressed crowd, could see the nodding heads as they resonated with his words. Every hour of the flight became a minute of practice. Craig repeated his revised speech, pacing his breathing and modulation. He used the ambient noise of the plane, a consistent, almost soothing drone, as a backdrop against which to sharpen his focus and delivery. The constraints of his seat became irrelevant. His mind was in motion, agile and alert. The cabin lights dimmed further, urging passengers into sleep. The aircraft, a giant cradle rocking gently through the night sky. But sleep was a luxury Craig could not afford, not yet. He sipped on water, keeping hydrated, mindful of his voice, and occasionally walked down the aisle, stretching his legs, staying physically active. Each step was a metaphor for his journey, not just toward London, but toward a state of perpetual readiness, a commitment to excellence that did not waver at the first sign of discomfort. As the night deepened outside, a subtle shift occurred within Craig. What had begun as a challenge was now an invigorating test of his resolve and skills. The initial spike of adrenaline had faded, replaced by a steady, burning determination. He felt every ounce of his training and experience coalescing, readying him for the moment he would step off the plane and onto the stage. Then, amidst his preparations, another unexpected notification pierced the silence of his focus. This time, it was a message from his assistant, sent via the in-flight Wi-Fi. "Heads up, another keynote speaker has had to cancel last minute. There might be more adjustments. We'll keep you posted." Craig paused, absorbing the impact of yet another potential twist. The scenario was evolving, dynamic, unpredictable, much like the very essence of life and leadership he was about to discuss. He smiled slightly, recognizing that every challenge was an opportunity to demonstrate the very principles he was set to present. How he handled these next few hours could well be his most compelling testament to the art of staying ready. Stay tuned for part 3. Hello, this is Coach Wheeler, and this is part 3 of the story Being Ready. The title of this part is The Descent. As the first light of dawn began to seep through the cabin windows, tinting the sky with hues of amber and violet, Craig felt the subtle shift in the plane's trajectory. They were beginning their descent into London. His night had been a whirlwind of revisions and mental rehearsals, but as land approached, a calm resolve settled over him. He was not just prepared, he was transformed, fully embodying the principles of readiness and continuous improvement he was about to impart. Craig glanced at his watch, calculating the few short hours before he would stand before an international audience, charged with the task of not only filling the slot of another speaker, but also setting the tone for the entire conference. His mind was alert, his spirit undeterred by the lack of sleep. Instead, each moment of wakefulness had been an investment in refining his craft, in living the very message he was poised to deliver. As the plane touched down, Craig felt a surge of anticipation. The wheels meeting the runway echoed the alignment of his preparation meeting opportunity. He disembarked with a brisk step, his materials in one hand, his suitcase rolling smoothly behind him. The crisp morning air of London greeted him with a refreshing chill, a stark contrast to the stale air of the cabin, invigorating his senses further. Navigating through the airport, Craig reviewed his key points one last time. His speech now encapsulated not just theories but real-time application, enriched by the unexpected trials of the past few hours. He was ready to demonstrate how to stay poised under pressure, adapt swiftly, and seize unexpected opportunities to excel. Upon arriving at the venue, Craig was ushered immediately backstage. The hum of the gathering crowd seeped through the curtains, a reminder of the shared human experiences and challenges that his speech addressed. As he was introduced, a brief hush fell over the room, followed by welcoming applause. Craig stepped onto the stage, his presence commanding, his energy palpable. "Good morning," he began, his voice clear and confident. "Today, we explore not just the concept of readiness, but the practice of sustaining it amid chaos, of thriving on change and not settling for complacency. will uncover how each challenge, each unexpected turn, is an opportunity to test our preparedness and push beyond our limits. Craig shared his unexpected journey of the last several hours, weaving in his personal story with the principles he was advocating. He spoke of the constant need to adapt, the readiness to step up when others step back, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. The audience was captivated, drawn not only to his words but to the authenticity and urgency with which he delivered them. As his speech concluded, Craig offered a transition for his audience to carry back into their own lives. Let's take these principles beyond this conference, he urged. Challenge yourself to prepare diligently for every venture. Stay vigilant and adaptable, and continuously seek improvement. Whether you're crossing an ocean or stepping into a meeting, the principles of readiness, resilience, and relentless pursuit of growth are your tools. Equip yourself daily, and you will not only succeed, but excel. The applause that followed was both an acknowledgement and an affirmation. Craig had not only delivered a powerful message, but had lived it in real time, providing a vivid, impactful example that resonated deeply with everyone present. As he stepped off the stage, Craig felt a profound satisfaction, knowing that he had not only met the challenge, but had transformed it into a testament to his core message. He had illustrated, unequivocally, that the true test of readiness is not the absence of obstacles, but the ability to navigate them with grace and skill. This experience, he knew, would resonate not just in the minds of his audience, but in their actions, as they took his message and made it a tangible part of their everyday lives. After the conference, Craig's reputation soared. His adaptively crafted speech became a catalyst for invitations to speak and consult far beyond his initial expectations. As he mapped out his future, a new message from his assistant hinted at more shifts. More changes ahead, Craig. Upcoming engagements are now requesting hands-on training sessions and long-term partnerships. This spurred Craig to evolve his approach, considering how best to integrate his principles into these new formats. With a wealth of ideas and an overflow of opportunities, Craig found himself at a crossroads, needing to selectively pursue the paths that would best amplify his impact and align with his core message. For Craig, the journey that began with an unexpected flight change was now shaping into an influential new chapter, empowering others to master change and truly understand what it means to be ready. Hello, this is Coach Wheeler, and I'm going to explain kind of all the Ericksonian elements in the three parts of the Being Ready story and why they work for you, the reader or listener. Ericksonian hypnosis, named after Dr. Milton Erickson, is characterized by its indirect and conversational approach. It often employs storytelling, metaphors, and a deep understanding of the individual's subconscious to facilitate change and learning. In the three-part story about Craig, various Ericksonian techniques are woven into the narrative to engage the reader or listener in a subtle, transformative process. Part 1, the departure. These are the Ericksonian elements. First one, setting and atmosphere. The story begins in a busy airport with Craig surrounded by the sights and sound of travel. This environment is rich in sensory detail, which helps the reader or listener immerse themselves in the scene, much like Erickson's use of vivid, multi-sensory experiences to engage the subconscious. Next element, metaphor and symbolism. Craig's journey represents not just a physical trip, but also the mental preparation for performing under pressure. This dual meaning engages the listener's conscious and subconscious mind to parallel Craig's preparation with their own life's preparations. How and why they work. Well, the detailed setting helps the reader visualize and emotionally connect with Craig's experience, which is crucial for the subtle suggestions of readiness and preparation to take root. The metaphor of travel as preparation deepens the impact of the story, encouraging the readers to reflect on their readiness for their personal journeys. Moving on, Part 2, The Ascent. The first Ericksonian element used is reframing. Craig's response to the unexpected change in his schedule is a classic Ericksonian technique. Instead of viewing the schedule change as a setback, he reframes it as an opportunity to demonstrate and reinforce his message about staying ready. Next element, self-talk and internal dialogue. As Craig revises his speech and practices it, he's engaging in positive self-talk, a method used in Ericksonian therapy to strengthen the self and enhance one's capabilities through suggestion. How and why it works. Reframing the challenge as an opportunity mirrors Erickson's method of turning perceived obstacles into advantages, which can resonate deeply with listeners facing their challenges. The internal dialogue not only illustrates Craig's preparation, but also models a method listeners can apply in their contexts, enhancing personal mastery and readiness. Part 3, The Descent. First Ericksonian element, live demonstration. Craig's speech at the conference, especially his use of his own recent experiences as examples, acts as a live demonstration of his teachings. Ericksonian hypnosis often uses live examples to teach and to prove the effectiveness of the methods discussed. Another element is embedded commands. Through his narrative, Craig delivers key messages about readiness, adaptability, and continuous improvement, which are subtly reinforced as the story unfolds and concludes. How and why it works. While demonstrating the principles in action helps the listener see the practical application of the concepts, making the advice more tangible and relatable. Embedded commands within the narrative encourage the reader to absorb these concepts at a deeper level, often bypassing resistance and fostering a personal connection to the ideas presented. Overall, the Ericksonian elements in the story work to engage the reader's subconscious alongside the conscious, facilitating a deeper, more personal reflection on the themes of readiness, adaptability, and self-improvement. By the end of the story, readers and listeners are not just entertained, but are equipped with mental tools and a new perspective to tackle their challenges, embodying the very essence of what it means to be ready.